Hello everyone, today we're going to look at usaco-training fractions to decimals. Okay, so in this problem we're given a fraction which is in the form n over d, where n is the numerator and d is the denominator. So we're given two integers and then we're going to print the decimal representation. Okay, so if the decimal representation has a repeating sequence of digits, then we print it in brackets. For example, 1 over 3, it would actually be 0.3333. Well, this would go on, so we just print it as 0.3 with the 3 in brackets. And if it's in whole number, then we just add a .0 to the end. So for example, 2 over 2 would become 1, and then we add a 0.0. Okay. So there's actually two cases, so we can actually first check if it's going to be a whole number or not. So we're given two integers, n and d. Okay, so basically if n mod d is equal to 0, this means that n is divisible by d. So if it's this case, then we print n divided by d, and then we just print a dot, and then we print a 0. Okay, so that's that case. So another case is basically if it's not divisible. So this case would happen. Let's just say if n is 4 and d is 0. So then we'll print 4 and then we'll print dot 0. Okay, so another case is if this is not equal. So let's just say we have 3 and 2. So then first thing we're going to print is so we're going to print d divided by, actually it should be n divided by d. So in this example, we're going to print 3 divided by 2, which would be equal to 1. So we're going to print 1. Okay, so let's write what we have so far here. So we have 1. And then we're going to print our dot, our decimal. So then we print a dot. Okay, so now basically what we're left with is basically the remainder of this, because after you divide, you're left with your remainder. So then what you would do is that your numerator would become your numerator modded by or just the remainder of this divided by your denominator. Okay, so then in this case, your numerator would become 3 mod 2, which would become 1. Okay, so after this, we're going to repeat a whole new process where we're going to extract the digits over here. So then we're going to first multiply your numerator by 10. Okay, let's actually call this a new segment. And after this, you know that your next digit would be equal to your, basically you know that your next digit would be equal to n divided by d. So for example, for what we have over here, your numerator would become 10 after multiplying it by 10. And then after you divide it, so this would become 10, then this would become 3. Actually, 10 divided by 2 would be 5. So then over here, we put a 5. And then we set n to n mod. It would actually to be n mod m. So again, you just keep on taking, or actually it should be mod d. So then you just keep on taking your remainder. So then in this case, your n mod d will be 10 mod 2, which would be equal to 0. And then since you have a 0 over here, you know that you basically ended, so we just print this out. Okay, so here's another case. So let's just say we have 1 over 3. So this is a bit more complicated, but it's okay. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to follow these steps. So we're going to print n over b, and then we're going to print that as well. So we're going to have 1 over 3, which is 0. And then we're going to print a dot. So right now, you're going to have, it's going to be 1 over 3. Okay? So then we're going to multiply the first number by 10. So then this would become 10 over 3. And then we're going to take the floor of this, so then this would result in 3. So we put a 3 over here. Okay. Now basically, we have 3, and then we set our numerator to this thing mod this, so then your numerator would become 1. And then you repeat it again, so you're going to become 10 divided by 3. But notice that this thing and this thing is the same, so no matter how much times you repeat it, it's going to be the same. So what we can do is that we can keep track of all the numbers and like the values of n and their positions, and when we reach a duplicate, we know that that's going to repeat, so we're going to just print a bracket around that. Okay, and in C++ we can use a map to handle this. Okay, so let's just include bits. Okay, so we're given n and d. Okay, so let's read n and d. Okay, so as I said before, our first case is if n is divisible by d. So if n mod d is equal to 0. So then we're going to print n divided by d. So what we can do is that we can create a print function, since we actually have to print it like 76 characters per line. So int x. So we can first convert it to strings. So then we can print it as a string. So that would be easier because we can handle character by character. So we're going to print toString of x. So over here, we can keep track of the number of characters printed. So then, okay. So we're going to basically, for each character in x, if the number we use is 76, then we print a new line, and then we set the number we did to 0. Otherwise, we print C, and then we increase the number we printed. Okay. So at the end, we just print n divided by d, and then we print dot 0. Okay. After this, we just print a new line since we're basically done here. Otherwise, we're going to follow these steps. So first thing we're going to do is that we're going to print n divided by d as well, and then we're going to print our dot, and then as I said before, we're going to set n equal to n mod d. Okay, so we're just going to repeat. So let's call this our new n. Let's call this small n. So this would be originally equal to n, but then remember I said we have to multiply it by 10 since we're actually creating a new one. Okay, and we're going to have our new digit. So our digit is going to be our new n divided by d. And notice that our d would basically stay constant since our denominator is always constant. Okay, so that would be that. Okay. Basically, we know that our new n is going to be equal to, so basically our new n would be equal to your n modded by d. Okay, so there's a few conditions here. So the first thing is that if we encountered this n before, so we can actually have a map keep tracking of that. So let's call this position. And we can also have another vector keeping track of the values. Let's call this val. Okay. So if this n exists, then we're going to actually print out the answer. So we're going to for each I from 0, it has to be less than position of n, we're going to print value of I. And then we're just going to print out the rest. So it's going to be from position n, has to be less than val.size. Then we're going to print val of I as well. And then this also means that we're basically just going to end it here, meaning that we're done here, so we can just break. Okay, so if this is not the condition, then we're going to set our new n value. So what we're going to do is that we're going to set position of n, or we're going to set n equals to, one second. We're going to set position of n to the value, so it's going to be equal to position.size. And then we're going to push back our digit, and then we will just set our n to this. Okay, so at the end, we'll just see out a new line, so let's actually run this. Okay, so we're given 45, 56. Okay, it's compiling. Okay, position, non-class int. Okay, so this looks like val.size, not position.size, because there is no format. Okay, so position of I. Okay, position of n. Oh, so this should actually have a comma here. Typo. Okay, compiling. Okay, it's taking quite a while. Okay, so oh yeah, so I think I did not print the brackets, so let's just print them here. Okay, so here's our input, and the output I'm just going to put over here. So our output should be this, and it seems like that is right. So let's just actually make a few other tests. So let's just say we're given 2 and 1. That's good. Let's just say 1 and 2. Okay, so that looks bad. So we actually shouldn't do that. Oh yeah, so over here, so if n, or if n is equal to 0, meaning that we're actually done here, we can just for each, we can just print out the value. So we're going to print value of I, and then we can just break it from here, because basically, let's just say we have we have 1 over 2. Then when it reaches it, you're going to set 1 to 10, because we're going to multiply it here. And then after we multiply it, we would set n to n mod 2, which it would be equal to 0. So then we actually have to end it there. So let's actually run that. Okay, so we have 1, 2. Okay, that looks good. That's 1, 3. Okay, so that looks good. Just going to submit it. So you have to read from fracdeck.in, and you have to write to fracdeck.out. Okay, so plus plus here. Okay. Oops. Okay, so this is usaco-training. This is fractions, decimals, and here. Okay, so that is right. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Bye.